this should help then. I apologize for that. Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, October 2021, with the theme Ghostly Whispers. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the continued and amazing support of my over 1,300 patrons, which is still incredibly humbling to see. I've also enabled YouTube memberships, which is mostly to make sure that we don't have to run any ads on the channel. As always, after everything, the recording will be available on the site hypno.nimja.com. And of course, I'm not able to chat because the microphone is much more important. I would also like to thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you so much. Now, I also have 2 bits of news for those who have not been paying attention. I am running a fan art and cosplay contest. If you want to know more, check the community tab. You should be able to see it on the site hypno.nimja.com/contest with all the details and all the rules. I am sure that you would enjoy some rules, wouldn't you? Anyway, the deadline for the contest is Halloween, which neatly brings me into the second secret news for today. I will run a special live stream for patrons only on my patron Discord on Sunday the 31st of October, on Halloween itself. More news for that will follow. It will be available for all patrons. Later this month, in 2 weeks, there is also a Nimja Live Light only for gold and silver patrons. And voting for that will start after the live. I think that was all the basic household stuff. Now, for anyone who is new, the way this goes is in the beginning of the live stream, there's the intro, like just now. Then we will discuss the theme. At about 1:15, we will start the hypnosis session. Participation is entirely up to you. When I start the hypnosis session, I will switch the chat to members only, and I would like to politely ask the members to not do any chatting in that time. Themes alternate between gentle and kinky, and since this is the spooky month, today's file will count as kinky. Sort of. Not quite. It's sort of in between gentle and kinky, because spooky, ghostly whispers are a lot of fun. Let me see. I think that is everything. And let me share this as well. There we go. Oh no, it's shared wrong. Short-lived copy-paste. There we go. So, ghostly whispers. It is not exactly kinky. We're not going to go too far, I think. But it is still a very nice feeling. Ghostly whispers. So, what do you think of when you think of ghostly whispers? Where should we be? Whispers that wake you up from sleep. It's actually a nice way to start it. I could even include sort of a background of where you're sleeping. Woods at night. Ghostbusters. No Ghostbusters. Haunted house. I know what you did. Tingles and chills. I like tingles and chills. Tingles and chills. In a dark room, waking up in the woods. Actually, that's maybe also a nice idea, waking up somewhere else. A slight chill, a glowing orb. No, I don't think I'll do an orb. Some fog is always good. And of course, moonlight. Wind. Feeling lost. And then we have teasing. A ghost moose, but not being serious, of course. You won't be able to move until I say you can. I will consider that. Hearing movement, a friendly ghost, bats and black cats, voices from an unknown directions. Voices from unknown directions. Feeling the whispers along your skin. Oh, that's very along your skin. Breath control. The voices aren't really there. Voices telling you to follow. I think I have quite a few files where a voice tells you to follow one way or the other. I wonder why people like that. Do people want to follow my voice into dangerous places? Creepily calming you down. Inside, outside, or both. A ghost battle. Following Flora X, voices possessing your mind. Well, I mean, I have a possession file, but hearing the dissonance between curiosity and fear. Curious and fear. Then again, where would you hear it? Because is the ghost afraid of you? Playing hide and seek. If you won't calm down, I'll do it for you. It won't be that fear play or that intense, I think. The ghostly whispers is more about sort of the unknown. But I will do some fear play. But we'll see. An amnesia, maybe. Is there a way to do hypnosis where the person themselves creates their own fantasy world to explore? I mean, there is. There are definitely ways to be more open. And I know I should be careful with the word kinky. So many people just apparently enjoy some of the naughtier things that I do. And we'll see if the session on Discord will be released afterwards. Anyway, I think I have enough. Please start getting ready. I want to make sure that I have everything set up. There we go. Then we start setting up the way of chatting, because the way of chatting allows people to make sure that only when it's right. And indeed, participation during the trance is not an obligation. Please do so at your own pace and enjoy yourselves in whatever way you feel possible. All right, let's get ready. I will switch the chats. And that should all be okay. That is looking good. Oh, funny, it sends 2 messages because of course it does. All right, please get comfy, and I hope you all will enjoy yourself immensely. Everything looks to be ready on my end. Very good. So, let's begin. Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, Ghostly Whispers. In this file, you may find yourself in a different place than you were before. It might seem strange to you. You can let it happen if you want. You'll be safe in the end. I'm sure there have been many times when you have been sleeping or laying in your bed, sort of drifting into that state where you're not quite sure if you're awake or not. Sometimes you may even think that you heard something. A doorbell, a knock, maybe your name, who knows? And right after something like that happens, usually you fall right back asleep, getting comfy, getting cozy, and closing your eyes, just enjoying the moment. The soft, warm sounds of my voice. Maybe even doing a countdown. Just a soft, gentle countdown into trance. You never know what would happen if you listen to the numbers passing you by, helping you to relax. You might even be surprised at how easily you drift back into the sleep that was so comfortable before. Do you remember that feeling of being on the edge of sleep, so comfortably wrapped in blankets, feeling so soft and safe in such a familiar place? 10. As mind and body begin to let go and enjoy the wonderful flow of just letting things happen. 9. Subtle sounds begin to fade away until all that will stay is just gentle breathing and sleep. 8. Relaxing further and further because it can feel so nice to let go. 7. Adrift in a state of relaxation. Your body too heavy to move or just too relaxed to care. 6. And at that point, every breath appears to just allow you to go even more into that state. 5. So sweet and gentle, drifting close to dreams and sleeping so comfortably. 4. I should even lower my voice a little, letting you drift even more. 3. Who knows how deep your sleep becomes? 2. Let yourself drift down, all the way down. 1. And drop. It's okay to let go. Right now you can just enjoy sleeping comfortably and cozy into your bed. And whatever happens next surely should be no more than a dream. Even if you hear your name gently whispered, can you hear me? Soft sensations that draw your attention just on the edge of sleep. Please listen. I wonder if you'd notice the changes in texture and sound around you. Look around. Strange shapes that are definitely not a familiar place. Trees, leaves, moonlight. Focus on my voice. The more you look around, the more you realize that you are no longer in your comfy, cozy bed. Little strings of moonlight trickle through the leaves. The soft haze of fog hangs in the air and makes it difficult to see very far. Please focus. There might be voices in the air drifting, but it's difficult to tell where they're coming from. This way, please. And I'm sure that part of you would try to follow, but where are they coming from? As you begin to move around, slowly feeling the many sticks, leaves, branches, it's difficult to stand up without tripping, so you have to be careful. Hurry, please. And yet, it's difficult to deny that something is calling you, something is pulling on your mind, on your body, somewhere. This way, please. There's a pull on your body, and it's causing a deep chill down your spine. But it also feels like it's tingling into a certain direction. And as soon as you begin to move, yes, please hurry. Apparently it is the right direction. Looking around is quite pointless. Nothing here is recognizable of anything you've seen before. The trees look like the type of trees you know, but the place is unknown. The rustling of the leaves above you is slow and subtle. There is barely any wind. And right now, there are no night creatures, not that you can hear. They would stay far away from any human and would hide. With all the noise you're making, leaves and twigs crunching underneath your feet. Yes, keep going. It's difficult to determine the exact direction, but any time that you deviate from a hidden path, you are pulled the other way. It's a strange sensation, almost ethereal, with a pulling deep inside your body. We're almost there. Please keep going. The voice is everywhere, nowhere. It's in your head and it's through your ears. There's no direction determined from the sound. What would you feel more right now? Your curiosity and maybe other emotions causing a strange dissonance in your mind. Is it a dream? Is it real? The chill is palpable. Yes, this way, please. How far you've been walking is hard to tell. One tree looks like another. It doesn't feel like you've been making any curves or turns, but for all you know, you could be walking in circles. The fog pulls on your mind. Little wisps and tendrils seem to invite you to walk into them. And yet, part of you is aware that it would be a terrible idea to follow the invitation of the mist. No, please focus. focus on us. And as you move, you feel a gentle satisfaction. The chill becomes more real and it sends shivers down your spine in waves. Whenever your body feels like it gets used to it, there's another wave of it, a tingling sensation that starts and just travels all the way down. Yes, you're doing it. You're going the right way. And as you follow, you get pulled deeper. Your movements become almost automatic. But it's also comforting. You are heading the right way. Then there's a soft light. So soft that even in the light of the moon it is subtle as anything. You could have confused it for just a slight irregularity in the fog, but it turns brighter the closer you get. We're almost there. As you focus on the light, as it begins to glow brighter, the color of it surprises you. It becomes so vivid and it slowly envelops you into a haven of light. A warmth emanates as well. The closer you step, the more the chills fade away and the more deep you drift. They are here. And as you enter the light, it almost feels as if you're drifting into a different world. While below your feet there is still the softness of moss. The light is so bright that the trees feel 1,000,000 miles away. And slowly you are stopping, halting in your movements, bathing in the warmth, and it takes a while before you realize that you haven't moved for almost a minute. When you try to move, you realize that your body is stuck. Little twitches of your muscles show how completely unable you are. Remain calm. Everything is fine. Part of you wants to move, needs to move, needs to know that you're still in control. And yet something seems to be ebbing away from your mind. The warm light absorbs your will and allows you to let go to the sensation. The longer you stay here, the deeper you will sink into the state, as if you're melting into the light, becoming one with a strange voice. It's okay. Everything will be one. The strange sensation of the light envelops you until it blinds you in a way that seems impossible. Even with your eyes closed, you see it becoming brighter, until everything you see is a bright white color. It melts into your mind, slowly getting stronger and stronger into everything, until your body is just a warm, comfortable pool of relaxation, just slowly rippling and melting in the light. It's almost as if you disappear there in the light between the trees, becoming one with it, perhaps becoming another voice for someone else to follow. In a moment, there will be numbers counting up. And when they happen, you will slowly awaken back where you started. If you left anything behind, memories, thoughts, pieces of yourself, it's all right if you've forgotten. Then again, there was a strange comfort in being part of whatever that was. Thank you. One, two, slowly waking. 3, 4, more aware. 5, 6, almost there. 7, 8, almost awake. And 9, 10, awake. And find yourself back where you were, as if it was all just a dream. Possibly. And welcome back, everyone. If all is well, yes, the spiral worked. Whew. Let me switch back on the chats. And there we go. Whew. That was a very interesting experience for me, at least. Whew. And yeah, it went by pretty fast. That was almost exactly 20 minutes. And it's kind of interesting also to see the different ways that trance can develop, or I mean, like for me, I don't always know where it's going to go. But I'm pretty happy with this one. And yes, that was only 20 minutes. Whew. All right. And I'm sorry to hear that. Being stunned, it's not fun to be interrupted in a trance. So, and I hope that everyone is feeling all right. And just in case, wake and allow yourself to fully awaken and enjoy the sensations. I mean, it's also one of the few times in a life where I did a very classic sort of quick induction at the beginning. At some point I should do that more frequently again, because it is somewhat fun to do an induction at the beginning. Is everything working? Yes, it appears to be. And I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I'm almost ready for the Q&A. I'm just double checking something in the recording, but it all looks to be A-okay. Yes, I wanted to double check that the whispers are audible, because it would be kind of a shame if the whispers were not audible, because that's kind of the point of the file. Haley asks, so what did I have for dinner? I went out for food. I had vegan ribs and fries. It was quite tasty, but not quite enough. Jezebel asks, will you be doing Halloween-esque file types or type files for October again this year? Probably. But I don't give any specific answers to upcoming files. Many people ask, what is your favorite kind of cheese? Because there was a cheese discussion before the live began. And my favorite kind of cheese is probably smoked cheese. But like most favorite cheeses, it is something you should eat in moderation. Like standard Gouda is like very nice, and Old Amsterdam is also quite nice. Andreas asks, your opinion on ducks? They are birds. Nadine asks, do you think the sea is salty because the shore never waves back at it? I don't know. I think many people compensate for the lack of waving. Stale Panini asks, I've seen you move your hands and fingers around sometimes while doing an induction. Is that what's called a butterfly induction? No, a butterfly induction has to do with rapid eye movements, and it is a form of quick induction that doesn't really work very well on video. It is more effective in person because it's nice if you can move like slightly above, below, and to the left and right of their normal field of view. Mokali asks, could you tell us about the most fun you've had spooking someone? I think that would probably be a sort of fake kidnapping scene. But I'm not going to give any more details. Brian mentions, when doing whispers, try not to audibly breathing out before the whisper. Well, I was actually trying to do a sort of reverse sound effect. Like this. Boven asks, which mic are you using now? This is the Rode NT USB. Xenix asks, what was your favorite presentation workshop you've ever given? Probably the Dark Hypnosis in person in Wales. It was really good. It was also really popular. Becca Rose asks, how far ahead do you record a file? That varies. I try to be at least a week ahead, and sometimes I record further ahead. For example, with holidays, close to Christmas, I do my best to be recorded ahead so I don't have to spend time recording, like over Christmas. Still Panini asks, what is your favorite way to tease someone with hypnosis? Well, I think my favorite way to tease, I'll tell you later. Andrews asks, have you ever been asked to do something which you ended up enjoying way more than you thought you would? Yes. But I can't think of an example right now. Emily asks, judging by the cool loss of body awareness effect, have you ever done one of those sensory deprivation tanks? Yes, and I'll probably do so again at some point. Boven asks, can you please shout out? Well, no, I don't want to be too loud. Haley asks, have you ever had a file in limbo, like you've recorded it but haven't decided if you're sure you want to post it? What was the final decision? If it goes posted, what file was it? If not, why? No, generally, if I record something, I plan it, but I have removed one file in hindsight when, like, the way I made it didn't work, and that's a while ago already. Boven asks, where are you from? I am from the Netherlands. Emily asks, what is your favorite part of a sensory deprivation tank? Outside of the over saltiness of the water, the floating on top of it was kind of nice. Katie Broadcasting asks, what is your yelling like? Do you consider it a nuke to be threatened but not used? I don't want to yell like on the top of my lungs inside my own house. Marita asks, how are your plans on world domination going? Well, if you have to ask, it means that you're not part of it. Andreas asks, do you have any vocal warm-ups like you do before you're doing hypnosis? Sometimes. Mastermind asks, trick or treat? Yes. Mokali asks, have you done an induction with a head massage? Oh, definitely. Brian asks, are you planning to do a Thanksgiving-themed live in November? No, because Thanksgiving isn't a thing here. Plus, I don't want to celebrate Native Americans getting killed. Nadine asks, what is your favorite holiday? I don't know. Holidays don't really have a rank, in my opinion. Madeleine asks, last movie you've watched? I watched Velvet Buzzsaw, which is a strange horror movie, but really cool. Mew Telgi asks, what image would you carve into a pumpkin? Probably something very nerdy, like 42 or something. Or if I'm really bad, I'll do 42 in binary. And then everyone asks, why are there just dots there? Like, don't worry, it makes sense to someone. Emily asks, video game you are wanting more achievements in? Oh, please no, not more achievements. It's already annoying to get them. Official Moose of Canada asks, did you have a nice day today? It seemed like you took an extra minute to get in the zone today. Hope you're doing well. Yes, it was just a long day. And it's always annoying when the microphone, for some reason, doesn't want to immediately work. Jasmine asks, have you watched Hannibal? I have watched various incarnations of Hannibal. Andovas asks, have you ever made a pun so bad you yourself cringed at it? Yes, definitely. Like there's not even a doubt about that. And Madeleine asks, do you play Osu? No, I don't. Here, Iris asks, can microphones brat? Is that what happened? Probably. Neighborhood Bisexual asks, how often do you laugh at your own jokes? I don't know. Only if they're very funny to me. Nadine asks, do you think penguins have knees? I don't know. Probably, because birds have knees, as far as I know. Emily asks, strangest flavor combination you were pleasantly surprised by? Ginger and carrot. And also carrot and aniseed. Becca Rose asks, do you have any Halloween-themed jokes? I don't know. Katie Broadcasting asks, have you considered doing any voice acting? You'd be an amazing villain. Air Flamendata asks, how much daylight is there in the Netherlands this time of year? Too little, and it gets even less. Official Moose of Canada asks, have you ever interrupted a scene to make a pun that you just had to make in the moment? I don't think I have. Androvas asks, how would you go about introducing someone to recreational hypnosis, so non-erotic? Massaging and hypnosis works very well together. Nadine asks, is it true that your eye contact is as piercing in person? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. Midnight Films asks, sir, where's your spooky cape for your spookiness? That's a very good question. I actually do have a spooky cape of evilness, but that's not for you to see. Casey Serene asks, what is your favorite type of blank face? Yes. Flora X asks, favorite ice cream flavor? I'm a very simple person with ice cream flavors. I quite like basic lemon. That being said, I had a really awesome lemon cheesecake at a strange ice cream store not too far from here. I mean, the perspective of not too far is very relevant, very relative. NZ asks, what is the best way to calm an analytical mind before hypnosis? Hugs. And of course, Edna does not approve of cape, which is why I don't wear a cape when I'm doing awesome hypnosis stuff. Madeleine asks, when bringing up the subject of hypnosis in a conversation, how do you explain hypnosis when people find it very mysterious? I usually explain that it is a natural state of mind and that people do it all the time. Neighborhood Bisexual asks, what is your favorite thing to see when hypnotizing people in person? A look of surprise and like a look of pleased surprise. Sort of like a wow, yay. Nadine asks, how would you pull off a perfect crime? No reason. Well, I'm not going to tell you, obviously. Capes get caught in ceiling fans. Don't ask how I know this. Flora asks, what is a strange ice cream store? Sounds like a good title for a file. I mean, it could be. Actually, hypnotic ice cream flavors could be interesting. Would you like to taste a little more relaxation, or would you prefer some other taste? I kind of have something similar with the Hypno Cafe drink. Emily Gremlin asks, what would be your weirdest I was recognized in public moment you could share? I've only been recognized once, so there's only one. A brain freeze file. Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. Androvus asks, have you ever made your own ice cream and what flavors? I have not made my own ice cream, only my own flavored ice based on juice. So basically freezing apple juice, for example. I've never made ice cream, so never milk-based. Xenix asks, what would a Dom do if a brat is quite speed to run off? Well, that is where freeze triggers can be used. Just a Little Me asks, what is the weirdest compliment you have received? I don't know. Just a Little Me asks, what is your favorite part of the autumn months? The leaves, they are so colorful. On Twitter, I believe I started a thread with hypnotic ice cream flavors quite a while ago. And I'd like to think all the ice cream flavors would have different trancy names and then just one normal lemon. Katie asks, what would you do if a brat ran off and you weren't allowed to use freeze triggers on them? I would turn around and walk the other way. The brat will return. Iris asks, do you think you can outrun most people? If I need to, yes. It is one of the perks of being relatively tall. Mokely asks, what is one of the perks of being relatively tall? Being able to outrun most people. Actually, no. One of the biggest perks is being able to reach high places. Androvus asks, now that you've been on Twitter for a little while, how is it working for you? I think it's a fun outlet for some silly puns that I make, so I can torture more people with my bizarre machinations. A67 asks, how tall are you? I am 187 centimeters or 6'2". Also being able to be, like being tall means that bear hugs are a thing. Emily asks, have you ever asked a short person to get you something on the lower shelf? Well, not because they're short. And indeed, I'm not tall in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, I'm only slightly above average. It's just that the Dutch people are apparently freakishly tall. Nadine asks, would you consider hypnosis as a superpower when putting someone in a mind-melting trance? It's not a superpower because anyone can learn it. Iris asks, can we play tag to prove a point? See, that's a dangerous thing to ask. Casey Serene asks, what is the most teasy thing that you could do to us right now? Oh, just you wait. Haley asks, time check. It's about 33 minutes remaining. And yes, I understood that you meant completely non-kink tag. Kink is fun. Sorry, not kink is fun. Tag is fun. Tag is silly. And I think it's good to still enjoy simple things. Jezebel asks, during the holiday season, do you measure your height in centimeters? I mean, I guess so. I wonder if someone has made a centimeter like measurement system. I know there's Smoots. Official Moose of Canada asks, what is the coolest animal you've ever seen in the wild? Oof, I don't know. Snakes are pretty cool, and I've seen foxes. I don't think I've seen wolves. The thing is, cool, I'm not sure, but I've heard deer bark, and as noises go, deer barks are some of the weirdest noises ever. It is like a child screaming and trying to imitate a barking dog. It is weird. Very, very weird. Haley asks, do you have a favorite noise? Silence. Rex asks, are there any questions you're sick of answering? Probably. Mostly like questions that I've answered at every live is a bit silly. And I didn't do anything to that deer. Deer just have a very weird sound if they get spooked. And all I did was walk within about 2.5 meters of them by accident. Katie asks, have you seen this question before? And Nadine asks, what's the best way to piss off a tall person? Pick them up in a Mini Cooper. That's actually a mistake because Mini Coopers are not that small. Andrews asks, what's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? That depends. Monty or a python swallow? Eternal Fancy asks, what is then annoying to tall people? I guess any kind of joke that is related to height, weight, whatever kind of aspect of a person is annoying to anyone with that aspect. So you can probably think of several yourself. The mastermind asks, in the UK there's a dish named bangers and mash. Have you ever dared to try it? It's not scary. It's a very basic dish. Just a Little Me asks, are you aware that your voice makes some people very cuddly? Yes. Motherleaf says, I live in an attic and my tallest friends can't stand up straight. Yes, I know that feeling. Maxer asks, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Yes, Anakin. Official Moose of Canada asks, asking as someone who has had many such interaction, what's the most awkward you've been with a stranger in a public slash store employee slash what have you? The most awkward. I can be very weird, so I'm sure that I've done plenty of awkward stuff. Generally, I'm not afraid to ask people about something that they're doing or about something that they're wearing. Random asks, what is your favorite dish that has origins in the Netherlands? The Dutch name is hete bliksem, which is hot lightning. It is a combination of apples and potatoes as a mash with bacon bits. It's called hot lightning because the apples and potatoes make it sort of an applesauce, but then much thicker because it has potatoes in it. And the bacon bits make it absolutely delicious. But because it has so much apples, it stays warm for a very, very long time, so people tend to burn their tongue on it, especially with the first bite without blowing. Xenix asks, do you have a diploma in building blanket forts? No, I'm still working on my master's. Flora X asks, pros and cons of FetLife. Well, on the one hand, it's a fetish social network. On the other hand, it is a fetish social network. Nopiep asks, sweet or salty or both together? Oh, caramel and sea salt chocolate, delicious. Casey Serene asks, favorite way to mess with a bread? I'm not going to tell you. Oh, wait, I missed it. Becca Rose asks, what is your favorite type of humor? Dark humor, slapstick, etc. It depends on how well it is done. There is a British old TV series called Bottom, which also has some theater done. It's slapstick, but it is extremely well done slapstick. Andrevis asks, opinions on Dutch cuisine? Yeah, it exists. That's about it. Sariana asks, are you left or right-handed, and what is your favorite hand for spanking? I am right-handed, and it is probably the hand I use most. Nadine asks, how does one apply for cuddling college? Open-armed. And Just Little Me asks, what is one of the nicest signs that someone is relaxed? Shoulders going down. Nopiap asks, do you wear any jewelry? Generally, no. Eternal Fancy asks, have you ever had saltwater taffy? I don't think so. Eternal Fancy asks, do you have a watch? I think I still have one somewhere, but I do not wear it. Not anymore, anyway. I used to wear watches a lot more, but since the age of phone, I have a clock with me that I don't need to wear around my wrist. Oh, is the chat okay? Okay. Hendrivus asks, have you ever done the Nieuwjaarsduik, which is diving into ice cold water just after New Year's? I have not. Haley asks, what is the best part about being such a powerful, definitely not evil mastermind? Do you have to ask? Ace asks, would you ever use sounds other than your voice in a video, like a metronome or something? I have considered it, but I'm very, very careful with any sound other than the background music, because I want the sessions to be something that I could do in real life easily. I am bisexual asks, what would be the most annoying allergy to suddenly develop? So lactose intolerance is pretty annoying and usually gets people's stomachs very upset. There are easy ways to mitigate it, but it still means that you cannot enjoy it the same way. Andreas asks, aside from your custom visuals, what is your favorite visual focus to use and why? I have something called a Euler's disc, and it is pretty amazing. Flammendater asks, did you ever get a metronome? Yes, I got 2 metronomes. Xenix asks, will you ever make a file where you record a video with hand movements for? I don't know. Just a Little Me asks, what is generally a good icebreaker question? Does anyone know the Titanic? Nopyap asks, do you consider yourself part of the LGBTQ community? I hate having to read those letters in order. I always mess it up. Especially because the letters changed a bit over time. I would say yes. It gets a little bit complicated since I'm mostly straight. Then again, I make sure that my content is very inclusive and open to all kinds of sexualities and gender identities. Nadine asks, so Nimja, since you're a teasy person, do you have a preferred way to tease someone? If so, what is it? Puns? No. I like physical teasing as well. Especially building up and denial. The narrator asks, when watching Titanic, is saying the ship sinks a spoiler? Only if you've been unaware of this historical fact for the last 100 years or so. I Am Bisexual asks, is there a difference between allergies and intolerances? I do not know. I assume that there is a medical difference. Katie Broadcasting asks, I think it would be fun to watch you dominate a man. And I have. I am quite comfortable hypnotizing and dominating any gender. I mean, it was a dead pun answer. Andreas asks, you said you've been hypnotized before. How did it feel for you? Very relaxing. And Official Moose of Canada says, there is a difference between allergies and intolerances. Like, I assumed so. I Am Bisexual didn't ask. It was actually a statement that there is a difference. Official Moose of Canada asks, do you enjoy being teased as much as you enjoy teasing? To a point. The thing is, like same as any other teasing, it should be fun for both people. I don't like teasing someone when they're not enjoying it, but there are a lot of teases that I also enjoy. And I apologize for misreading I Am Bisexual. Casey Serene asks, what is your favorite submissive position to see a subby person do? I have to be very careful with answering this without triggering a lot of people. I think the 3 positions that I use are all my favorite for different reasons. So the kneeling position is really nice in its simplicity and commonness. The position for worship is really nice because it's much deeper and kind of intense. And when presenting, it is also very direct towards me, which is really nice. Anders asks, do you have any boxes that I can borrow for reasons? Mastermind asks, a bratwurst resists to be eaten. Should we fork it, or do we mustardly deny it? Obviously, yes. Katie Broadcasting asks, do you play any instruments? Piano and a bit of guitar. Eternal Fancy asks, do you have a favorite type of water? Sparkling, lemon, just plain. In the Netherlands, tap water is incredibly tasty and very clean and healthy. A67 asks, something that made you laugh really hard recently. I was playing Tales of Berseria, and I was explaining to someone how that game is incredibly cliche anime, the game. And as I was showing it, it did exactly the kind of super cliche anime things that I was trying to say that it did. So the timing of it was really nice. Nobyab asks, what's a new skill you're learning? It's not really new. I'm trying to refine my 3D stuff. Endervis asks, how does one make a box too comfortable to want to escape from? Just curious. Pillows, blankets, and a favorite plushie. And I think there are several people here that approve of those statements. Iris asks, do hypnotists with sore throats use cough drops? And yes, I improved your pun, Iris. I'm sorry. Just a Little Me asks, do you like to flirt with others, or does it make you uncomfortable? I am very comfortable flirting as long as, again, the other person is comfortable. Flora X asks, how many hours a day do you spend in front of a computer? Too many. Rebecca Rose asks, can you make some more little files soon? I don't know. It is October. I don't know if littles can deal with this spooky scariness. Caitlin asks, any tips for Python beginners? Don't get bitten. As for programmers, just follow tutorials, but the easiest way to do any programming language is give yourself a project. It doesn't have to be complicated, but if you have something you want to make, it is much nicer. Andrews asks, how do you deal with the eye strain from too many hours in front of the computer? Good light. Flora X says, I have a spooky plushie. Does that count? Yes. Nadine asks, how does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it. And I know that pythons are constrictor snakes. They can still bite, though. They can use their teeth to hook into you. You know, I'm just going to call you IAB. IAB says, I developed a caffeine allergy and I believe that it's reasonably annoying. Not at all. It's very good to not drink any energy drinks, to not drink any coffee, and to only drink herbal tea. Jay Spurlock asks, have you lost weight recently, sir? Not significantly to my knowledge, but thank you. About 15 minutes or 14 minutes remaining. Official Moose of Canada says, alcohol allergy is similarly annoying. Yes, it is. Also, when cooking, it takes 4 hours for half the alcohol to get cooked out, if I remember correctly. Zariana asks, is there anything you collect in real life? And if so, what would it be? Not anymore. I don't have any real collection things anymore. I never really collected anything specifically. Midnight Film asks, favorite spooky entity? Probably poltergeists. Because you can't see them, but they still affect you. Eternal Fancy asks, how often do you write things down, or do you type everything? Sometimes I still use pen and paper, but I usually type stuff. And Nobiap asks, have you ever pressed flowers? Yes, we even did so in school. There are many flowers in the Netherlands. Mastermind asks, is your voice naturally deep? Deep. Or was it cultivated to sound that way? So during the live when I don't do hypnosis, it's very close to my normal speaking voice. I don't think I've explicitly cultivated it that way. Andrevis asks, what is the biggest mistake you've ever made while coding? The biggest, I don't know, like, the thing is, unit testing is a thing which allows you to verify that things work before you release them. And I don't think I've ever made a mistake through coding itself that affected a lot of people. I have made mistakes while working at places, but it wasn't really my code that was broken. Alternatively, Andrevis also asks, what is the most common mistake you make while coding? I don't know, switching an operator maybe. Becca Rose asks, can you just drop me? Yes, I could, but I won't. Official Moose of Canada asks, have you ever had any kind of vocal coaching or singing lessons or speech therapy or anything? I have not. I should, probably. Alfred F. Jones asks, do you believe in planned obsolescence? I know it exists, but I think it is a horrible thing. Just a Little Me asks, what is your favorite gift that you have given someone? Attention. Nadine asks, what is the word for the opposite of rising? I seem to have forgotten. Well, there are a few actually, but I think sinking is the most easy one. Eternal Fancy asks, are you into robotics? I follow developments. Brian asks, you did a file with an AI voice the other day. Are there any other alternate voices you do? I have quite a few. Snake, monster, dragon. There are already files out there. Casey Serene asks, how do you define a good girl? There's many definitions. Just do as you're told. Haley Bubbles asks, how do you usually imagine wisdom appearance-wise? Well now, that is for you to decide. That's what the whole contest is about. Katie asks, could you please read this Finnish text in a trancy voice? I don't know. I would have to read that carefully. Kisan Toyotus. Kisan Toyotus. Visinut Sivale Transin. Kisan Toyotus. Visinit Sivale Transin. I probably made a mistake with a sinut, but that's okay. And he asks, what does your snake monster voice sound like? Snake monster. Yes. Yes. It's actually hard to combine with a softer S, because snake voice is like a compressed sound with more compressed vowels. And that's difficult to combine with a sweet, evil voice. It sounds really awkward. Zenix asks, can you say hush now little one in Dutch? Asking for a friend. I'm sure you're just asking for no good reason. Let me see. How would I translate hush now? And also little one is actually harder to translate than I thought. I think I have a translation for hush now. Stil maar, lieve kleine. Official Moose of Canada asks, can I have a friend asking for a friend? I'm sure someone will volunteer. Otherwise they will voluntrans. It sounds like a constipated dragon. I mean, I guess we're all friends here. Doop 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 doop. All right. Can my friend ask for me instead? I don't know. It's better for you to ask yourself. Ah. And now Moose is overwhelmed with offers of friendship. And Haley is offering cookies and aggressive positivity, but I think that role is already taken by Sariana. Nadine asks, can one ever be too nice? Oh, yes. So outside of the joking that we're doing here, forcing yourself onto people or forcing your niceness onto people is not nice. 5 minutes remaining. Katie asks, how many different types of inductions could you pull off with math as the topic? Examples? Well, not now, but I think I can think of a few. A bunny fight to the death. Marita asks, can we have hugs, please? Hugs. Halloween. Fauna Johnson has made it for the last 5 minutes. Woo! Nadine asks, did you know your smile brightens the lives of your viewer watching? Yes, I've been told that my smile and my joyful presence is enticing. Other asks, you like jazz? Jazz is definitely all right. It varies. Like every genre of music has good music and bad music. Official Moose of Canada imagines edging as an arousal graph with vertical asymptotes. Actually, no, I would imagine edging more as a graphing of tan. Katie asks, would you do a CNC, like a consensual non-consent hypnosis session with someone you don't regularly work with? Only if there is a very clear established trust. It doesn't have to be someone I regularly work with, but it still should be someone where I feel comfortable that if something does go wrong, that we both know how to get into a better situation with proper use of safe words. Trust is not just for submissives, it's also for dominants. And of course, you can graph any shape, including a spiral. Sayana asks, how did you manage to get such a wonderful, loving community, or did it just happen naturally? I hope that I've done a few things that have helped make the community more open and welcoming. One of those things is the lack of cultish behavior and catchphrases. So I don't have a Nimja group or name for my fans. I don't treat fans differently based on what they say. And I think that helps allowing people to feel included, because there's no specialness of being a fan of mine, and there shouldn't be. This is for you to enjoy when you want, and there's no obligation on you to enjoy it. And Jezebel is completely correct. It would need a hackathon of negotiation, or a hackathon, sorry. And I think it's also very nice that the people who do choose to support me, like, also choose to follow the respect that I have for others, and help me to also grow in my own respect, being more inclusive in like how I run things and how I do things, because inclusivity is incredibly important to better ourselves as a species. And 1 minute remaining. I am bisexual asks, is that a new headset? I mean, yes, these are new headphones. These headphones actually have something really cool and special, because the logo is a triangle. It was a gift from someone very important to me that has been begging me to improve some of my audio equipment. Casey Serena asks, what are you most proud of? Still making things and still learning things. Nopiap asks, do you allow cursing around you? It depends on how you define allow. There are definitely repercussions. Anyway, I will do one more question, but then we're really at the last question. Official Moose of Canada asks, what made you want to start Hypnosis Files? Honestly, the answer is incredibly silly and stupid. It's the same reason I started writing erotic fiction, is I looked at what was out there at the time, and I was very disappointed by what was out there at the time, and I felt like I could add something to it. So I just started making it because I enjoy doing hypnosis, and I want the things to be out there, and I want the things to be made with because I want to, and not because I'm trying to make money or anything like that. Which is also why over 90% of my stuff is free, because I make it because I want to share things and I want to make like good things. It's also an awesome way to get feedback I've had so much really cool feedback and ideas that I would never have gotten if I didn't make online files. All right, that was a very heavy but awesome last question. Thank you so much all for being here, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing and making my life a little bit better by it. Enjoy October, and for the patrons, remember, there will be a spooky surprise session on Halloween because it's a Sunday. Ooh. Enjoy Spooktober, and this was Nimja Live. Wake.